In a political landscape increasingly characterized by volatility and division, former President Donald Trump stands as a particularly vulnerable figure, as highlighted by Nicholas Kristof in his recent opinion piece for the New York Times. Kristof argues that Trump's presidency, marked by unprecedented controversies and alleged corrupt practices, offers significant opportunities for his critics to mount effective challenges. Kristof begins by recognizing that despite Trump's fluctuating approval ratings, his tenure is not without significant liabilities. The former president is described as deeply corrupt, with a series of ethical breaches that, according to Kristof, have no precedent in American presidential history. The recent revelation that over $2 billion has flowed to Trump-linked companies in a single month raises red flags about influence peddling. Notably, Trump's promotion of his new cryptocurrency Dollar Trump, which included promises of personal dinners with him for major investors, exemplifies the blurring of lines between public service and personal profit. Furthermore, Kristof points to the economic repercussions of Trump's policies, asserting that his administration's tariffs represent the most substantial tax increase for American households since 1993, potentially costing an average family an additional $1,400 annually. With inflation rising and economic instability looming, Kristof argues that the resentment that once propelled Trump to victory is now being redirected toward him. The Republican-led House's approval of plans to slash Medicaid, which could leave millions uninsured, illustrates a growing disconnect between Trump's policies and the needs of everyday Americans. In addition to his malfeasance, Kristof highlights Trump's dismissive attitude towards his supporters, suggesting that many may feel manipulated rather than represented. Citing anecdotes from Trump's past remarks about his supporters, Kristof argues that this condescension could alienate voters who previously rallied behind him. He urges critics to leverage personal narratives that resonate more deeply than mere statistics about policy failures, advocating for a storytelling approach that Democrats have often neglected. Kristof does not shy away from acknowledging the missteps of Trump's critics, particularly the tendency of some liberals to alienate working-class voters by labeling them as racists or bigots. He emphasizes the need for the Democratic Party to not only challenge Trump's narratives but to demonstrate their own capacity for governance, something that has faltered in some blue states plagued by homelessness and poor educational outcomes. As Kristof concludes, the path forward for Trump's critics is not merely to point out his vulnerabilities but to provide an alternative narrative that resonates with the electorate. This calls for a blend of humor and compelling personal stories that can effectively counter the dramatic rhetoric that has characterized Trump's political style. The challenge ahead is daunting, but if his critics can unite around a clear vision and articulate their proposals with empathy and clarity, there is potential for a significant shift in the political tide. Looking ahead, as the 2026 election approaches, the question remains whether Trump's vulnerabilities will galvanize a cohesive opposition or lead to further entrenchment of his base. With the stakes higher than ever, the coming months will be critical in shaping the future of American democracy and the political landscape it inhabits, amid a flurry of political controversies. Elon Musk has shifted his focus back to his ambitious ventures in space exploration and autonomous vehicles. The billionaire entrepreneur, known for his audacious goals and innovative spirit, appears to be redirecting his energies toward projects that have defined his career and captivated the public imagination. This pivot comes as Musk faces intense scrutiny and criticism from various political factions, prompting him to step away from the contentious political landscape and recommit to the grand visions of Mars colonization and the future of transportation. Musk's return to these projects is underscored by his ongoing commitment to SpaceX, which has made significant strides in developing technology for interplanetary travel. With plans to send humans to Mars by the late 2020s, Musk's vision of establishing a self-sustaining city on the Red Planet continues to be a focal point of his efforts. As he stated in a recent interview, "The only way to ensure humanity's future is to become a multiplanetary species." This statement encapsulates his belief that exploring and colonizing other worlds is not only a technological challenge but a necessity for the survival of humanity. Simultaneously, Musk's company Tesla is pushing forward with advancements in autonomous driving technology. The automotive industry is undergoing a transformation, with Tesla at the forefront, aiming to lead the charge in making self-driving cars a reality. Recent updates have shown promising results in Tesla's full self-driving FSD software, which is increasingly being tested in various real-world scenarios. The potential impact of autonomous vehicles on safety, efficiency, and urban planning is profound, and as Musk himself noted, we're at the dawn of a revolution in transportation that will change the way we live. However, the road ahead is not without its obstacles. Regulatory challenges. Public skepticism and technological hurdles remain significant barriers to the widespread adoption of autonomous vehicles. Moreover, as Musk diverts his attention back to these ambitious projects, it raises questions about the future of his other ventures, including Neuralink and the Boring Company, which have also been vying for attention in the tech landscape. In conclusion, Musk's re-engagement with Mars and autonomous vehicles marks a strategic retreat from the political arena, allowing him to refocus on the innovative pursuits that have defined his career. As he continues to push the boundaries of technology, the implications of his work on space travel and transportation could reshape industries and alter the course of human history. The coming years will be critical as Musk navigates these complexities, and observers will be keenly watching how his endeavors unfold against the backdrop of an ever-evolving socio-political environment. In an unexpected turn of events that has caught both students and educators off guard, the classic Blue Book, once a symbol of exam dread, is making a comeback in academic settings across the nation. These simple blue-covered booklets, which have long been synonymous with high-stakes testing, are re-emerging as institutions look to streamline exam administration and reinforce traditional assessment methods. This revival reflects a growing discontent with digital alternatives that have proliferated in recent years, particularly during the pandemic era when remote learning dominated. The decision to reintroduce Blue Books can be traced to several factors. First, educators have expressed concerns over academic integrity, particularly with online exams, which have been fraught with issues such as cheating and distractions. The Blue Book provides a controlled environment where students can focus on their thoughts without the temptation of digital devices, explained Dr. Emily Carter, a professor of education at a prominent university. This sentiment is echoed across campuses, where many faculty members believe that returning to pen and paper assessments can help restore the integrity and rigor of academic evaluations. Data supports this shift. A recent survey conducted by the National Education Association revealed that over 60% of teachers found digital assessments less reliable than traditional methods. Furthermore, the tactile experience of writing in a Blue Book is seen as beneficial for cognitive processing. Writing by hand can enhance memory retention and understanding, which is crucial during exams, noted cognitive psychologist Dr. Samuel Green. While the move back to Blue Books is welcomed by many, it also raises questions about the future of digital assessments. As educational institutions grapple with balancing technology and traditional methods, they must ensure that any transition does not hinder student accessibility and engagement. The potential for a hybrid model, where Blue Books coexist with digital formats, could provide a middle ground, allowing students to choose their preferred assessment style. In the world of technology, major companies are also navigating their own challenges. Apple CEO Tim Cook is facing a particularly tumultuous year, with criticisms mounting over product delays and a perceived lack of innovation. Analysts suggest that this could impact Apple's market position if not addressed promptly. The pressure is on Cook to inspire confidence again, especially as competitors ramp up their offerings, stated tech analyst Linda Chen. Meanwhile, in the automotive sector, Tesla's Elon Musk has returned to the spotlight, garnering attention for his outspoken nature. His candid approach, while polarizing, is seen as a double-edged sword that could galvanize Tesla's customer base in a competitive EV market. Angry Elon is not just a personality, it's a brand strategy that resonates with the passionate Tesla community, commented industry expert Mark Thompson. As we look to the future, the reintroduction of blue books in education may signal a broader trend of re-evaluating technology's role in learning environments. Simultaneously, corporate leaders like Tim Cook and Elon Musk are navigating their paths amid challenges that could redefine their companies' trajectories. The interplay between tradition and innovation will continue to shape the educational landscape and the tech industry alike, setting the stage for ongoing developments that will attract both scrutiny and excitement. In a significant development within NATO, Spain has emerged as the last major holdout against the alliance's ambitious 5% defense spending goal. A target that underscores the ongoing push for heightened military readiness among member nations. As the NATO defense ministers prepare to convene in Brussels on June 5, the pressure is mounting on Madrid to align with this goal, which has been championed by U.S. President Donald Trump. The outcome of Spain's decision could have far-reaching implications for the unity and strategic direction of NATO as a whole. The call for increased defense spending comes at a time when the geopolitical landscape is increasingly fraught with concerns over security threats, particularly from Russia. Trump's insistence that NATO countries boost their defense budgets to 5% of GDP by 2032 is part of a broader strategy to equalize the financial burden of collective defense. As it stands, no NATO member currently meets this threshold, leaving room for debate over what constitutes adequate military investment. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio recently met with Spain's Foreign Minister José Manuel Albares, urging Spain to commit to the 5% target. However, Albares has publicly refrained from committing to this demand, emphasizing instead the need for a focus on military capabilities rather than specific budgetary percentages. It was a huge effort to reach 2%, he stated, referring to Spain's current defense spending target, which Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez has promised to meet this year through a €10 billion investment plan. The Spanish government has historically lagged in defense spending, grappling with a deeply rooted pacifist tradition. Experts suggest that while the government recognizes the necessity of increasing defense expenditures beyond 2%, it faces challenges in shifting public sentiment toward the 5% target. Bernardo Navazzo, founder of Geopolitical Insights, highlighted the difficulty of persuading the Spanish populace of the need for such a substantial increase, particularly in the absence of an immediate threat. It will be very difficult to get their populations to back 5% in a context where people perceive no imminent threat, he remarked. Despite the hurdles, NATO's plans for a collective commitment to increased military spending are well underway. Under a framework proposed by Secretary-General Mark Rutte, members are expected to allocate 3.5% of their budgets to core defense expenditures and an additional 1.5% to related areas including cybersecurity and defense infrastructure. The U.S. ambassador to NATO Matthew Whitaker reiterated the urgency of this commitment, stating, "5% is our number. We're asking our allies to invest in their defense like they mean it." The ramifications of Spain's decision extend beyond mere budgetary adjustments. A failure to reach consensus on the 5% target could undermine NATO's unity and complicate preparations for the upcoming Leaders' Summit in The Hague on June 24. Many within NATO hope that Spain's eventual agreement will facilitate discussions on technical details related to the scale-up of defense spending, including setting milestones ahead of the 2032 deadline. As NATO navigates these contentious discussions, the alliance's future cohesion hangs in the balance. The Spanish government's forthcoming decisions will not only influence Spain's military posture but also shape the broader dynamics of transatlantic defense cooperation. Moving forward, how Madrid reconciles its defense commitments with its historical stance on military spending will be pivotal in determining NATO's collective response to emerging security challenges in an increasingly uncertain world. In a troubling development within the legal landscape, Alabama's Butler Snow law firm faces potential sanctions after one of its attorneys allegedly utilized artificial intelligence to generate fictitious case law in defending the state's prison system. This incident has raised significant ethical questions about the reliance on AI in legal practice, especially as courts across the country grapple with the implications of such technology. The case involves Frankie Johnson, an inmate at the William E. Donaldson prison near Birmingham who claims to have been stabbed approximately 20 times during his incarceration due to the prison's failure to maintain a safe environment. Johnson's lawsuit underscores systemic issues in Alabama's prisons, including overcrowding, understaffing, and rampant violence. To defend against these claims, the Alabama Attorney General's office has relied on Butler Snow, a firm that has been compensated millions by the state for its legal services. However, recent proceedings revealed that Butler Snow's defense included citations generated by AI, specifically ChatGPT, which turned out to be fabricated. In a hearing presided over by U.S. District Judge Anna Monasco, it was disclosed that the attorney responsible for the erroneous citations, Matthew Reeves, failed to verify the AI-generated information before including it in legal filings. The judge expressed her concern over the increasing frequency of such AI hallucinations in legal documents, citing a database that has recorded over 106 cases globally where courts have encountered similar issues. This incident is part of a broader trend, as attorneys across the United States are increasingly facing scrutiny for incorporating unverified AI-generated content into their work. In recent months, there have been notable cases in California and Florida where lawyers face disciplinary actions for similar infractions. Monasco indicated that existing sanctions have often been insufficient, stating, "If they were, we wouldn't be here," and suggested a range of potential penalties for Butler Snow, including fines and mandatory legal education. In response, Butler Snow's attorneys have expressed regret and pledged to cooperate fully with the court's inquiry. They emphasized a firm policy requiring approval for AI use in legal research, which Reeves admitted he did not follow in this instance. The case has prompted a review of prior filings to ensure that no additional fabricated citations exist. As the hearing progressed, Judge Monasco allowed Butler Snow a 10-day window to submit a motion outlining their plan to address the problem. The implications of this case extend beyond the immediate legal ramifications for the firm. They highlight a critical juncture for the legal profession as it navigates the integration of AI technology. Legal scholars such as Damian Charlatan are observing a rise in AI-related issues in courtrooms, suggesting that the legal community may soon face stricter guidelines surrounding AI usage. While the future of Butler Snow's representation in the Johnson case remains uncertain, the Alabama Attorney General's office has so far shown confidence in the firm. The ramifications of this incident could reverberate through the legal industry, prompting a re-evaluation of the intersection between technology and ethical legal practice. As courts continue to adapt to the challenges posed by advancing technology, the need for clear standards governing the use of AI in legal filings becomes increasingly pressing. This case serves as a critical reminder of the importance of diligence in legal practice and the potential consequences of technological over-reliance. The outcome of the sanctions hearing against Butler Snow may set a precedent for how similar cases are handled in the future, shaping the legal landscape as it embraces the complexities of artificial intelligence. In a small borough of Jessup, Pennsylvania, the annual St. Ubaldo Day celebration transformed the quiet streets into a vibrant showcase of faith, family, and tradition. Held over the Memorial Day weekend, this year's festivities drew crowds eager to participate in a unique cultural experience that has its roots in Italian heritage. The event, known as Festa dei Carri, culminated in the exhilarating La Corsa dei Carri, where participants raced through the streets while carrying wooden pillars dedicated to three saints, Saint Antonio, Saint Giorgio, and Saint Ubaldo. The day began with a special mass service, setting a reverent tone for the celebrations. Following the service, the captains of the three teams threw hand-painted vases into the crowd, a tradition believed to bring good luck to those who collect the shattered pieces. "It's a beautiful blend of faith and community," said Jeannie Lupini, a longtime participant who has been involved for over 60 years. "Everyone, regardless of their background, comes together to celebrate this day." The origins of St. Ubaldo Day trace back to Italian immigrants who brought the tradition from Gubbio, Italy in the early 1900s. Many attendees like Gina Pasqualini and Terry Yanowski have traveled to Italy to experience the festival in its homeland. Pasqualini: who also directs the Valley View High School band that plays during the festivities, praised the event's ability to connect generations through music and shared cultural heritage. As locals and visitors gathered to witness the runners navigate a steep hill during the procession, the atmosphere was charged with excitement. The festival has become a cherished tradition in Jessup, with families passing down the roles and responsibilities associated with the celebration. "It's not just about the race, it's about community and our shared history," remarked Lapini, emphasizing the inclusivity of the event. In a stark contrast to the spirited celebration in Jessup, a somber reality unfolds as a growing number of migrants in the United States are opting to self-deport rather than face the uncertainty of a stringent immigration crackdown. As the Biden administration's asylum policies come under scrutiny, many Venezuelans, like Alexandra Hernandez, have found themselves feeling increasingly anxious about their futures in America. After only 4 months, Hernandez returned to Venezuela, fearing potential imprisonment in El Salvador due to the hostile political climate and anti-immigrant sentiments. Reports indicate that the number of self-deportations has surged, with approximately 9,000 people taking advantage of a government program offering financial incentives for voluntary departures. Conditions in their home countries, coupled with the perceived threats from U.S. immigration policies under President Trump, have prompted many to retrace their steps southward. Experts suggest that while fear plays a significant role in this trend, the deteriorating conditions in countries like Venezuela are equally influential. The juxtaposition of the vibrant St. Ubaldo Day festivities with the growing trend of self-deportation highlights the complex narrative of migration and cultural identity in the United States. As communities like Jessup come together to celebrate their heritage, the struggles of migrants underscore the ever-evolving landscape of immigration and the human stories intertwined within it. Looking ahead, the future of both celebrations and migration policies remains uncertain. The ongoing dialogue around immigration reform and the preservation of cultural traditions will shape how communities interact and evolve. As Jessup continues to honor its past through events like St. Ubaldo Day, the experiences of those who choose to leave America speak to the broader challenges that many face in their pursuit of safety and stability.